Hey everyone, you're listening to Women Are the Journey with your hostess with the mostest. That's right, it's me, Audrey Groeschel. In the story of the shift, we're going to talk to women entrepreneurs as they share the story of the shifts along the road of their business journey. You'll get a peek behind the curtain of what is really happening along that bumpy road of business ownership. In the Chew on This segment, I'll be talking about my own journey in stepping into the feminine and my own sense of goddess in me. It's a journey of switchbacks and ups and downs with permission to be real and hopefully bring you along on the journey to step into your own goddess. Welcome. Howdy, everybody. You are in for another episode of Women Are the Journey, and today we have another story of the shift. This one featuring Lynn Gray. She founded Leadership Girl with the radical notion that women can harness their own unique power and skills to become highly effective leaders. How cool is that, right? She's the best-selling author of Leadership Girl and a graduate of Duke's School of Business with an MBA with a concentration in entrepreneurship and innovation. She has experience with starting up successful small businesses, growing them, then selling them. Haley has worked with hundreds of small business owners since Leadership Girl was founded. She has a passion for helping their owners find ways to grow their business, acquire visibility, and transform into the go-to expert in their industry while saving them significant amounts of money. Haley is the founder of the 60,000-strong Women's Entrepreneurial Network group on Facebook, which she successfully grew in only 2 years. It is recognized as one of the best, most engaging, and helpful groups of this type on Facebook. By working with clients one-on-one in small groups and in a variety of different programs, Haley helps clients grow their businesses in a way that makes sense for them, since no two businesses are exactly the same. It is the belief that each business has its own unique fingerprint. When we recognize and work with each business's unique strengths and weaknesses, then we see the best results. There is no one-size-fits-all for leadership or business modeling. We are all unique, so playing to our strengths yields the best outcomes. When Haley isn't working, she's an avid volunteer and is on the board of directors for Cure AHC and My Sahana. She is a longtime Girl Scout troop leader and volunteer. She's the mother of 4 active kids and has a mini zoo in her home with a variety of pets, including cats, a horse, chinchilla, rabbit, fish, and turtles. She understands that sometimes life gets in the way and it is messy, but that it is beautiful anyway. And let me tell you, you guys are going to really love it today because she talks about believing in yourself and really the importance of having the faith that you need to have in yourself in order to make a successful business. She talks about how to be determined and what's the worst motivator for getting things done. And one of my favorites was that maybe you're not doing it wrong. Maybe you just haven't done it enough to really get it exactly the way you want it to be. I think that she's like the ultimate community builder. It's really quite amazing what she does. Help me in welcoming Lynn Gray. Howdy, everybody. It's Audrey Groeschel, and you are in for Women Are the Journey, and this episode's Story of the Shift featuring Lynn Gray. And I just welcome you in, Haley. How you doing today?
I am doing well. Thank you so much for having me here. This is such an honor.
I'm thrilled to have you. I think some of the stuff that you're doing is just awesome. And I wish that I could have participated in your upcoming convention, but it's just didn't work out for me. So I'm really excited for you to be able to tell everybody what you're doing. And I really look forward to, I hope you got it all streaming so that we can take a look at it if we're not actually able to get to your area. So, and on that note, I'm going to let you take it away and tell us where you're at right now.
So where am I at right now? I'm in North Carolina. Yeah, it's kind of funny. I am in the process right now of gearing up towards a pretty amazing online virtual summit, which is aimed at people. The speakers are all in online marketing. So it's the alchemy of successful online marketing.
Ooh.
And it is really intended to help people who are operating their business even in just a little bit in the online space and helping them with resources and tools and, information that people really need to help grow their businesses. So it is going to be a lot of fun. We're anticipating somewhere between 80 and 100 speakers.
Ooh.
And it is going to be amazing. I'm actually starting doing my interviews now. And we're going to be going on for a little while with doing interviews and lining up speakers and getting all of the information that we need together.
Wow. That's awesome.
It's going to be a lot of fun.
Yeah, I'm really excited. Now, what is this? Say the name of what it is again.
The alchemy of successful online marketing.
I love that. The alchemy of. It's a great word. It's just a great word. Now, what is the name of your business?
The name of my business is Leadership Girl.
Okay. I think that was what drew me to you from the very beginning, was just loved that Leadership Girl. There's so many girl boss things out there, and it was like, this is just a simple Leadership Girl. I like that. And it's one of the reasons I think why I found you.
Well, thank you. Yeah, I started it because of a number of different episodes that happened in my life. And really looking at my experience in corporate and being the only woman in the room with a bunch of men. And then going back for my MBA at Duke, which was a phenomenal experience. And there were only 7 women in my weekend executive MBA class.
Wow.
Which was 10%.
Wow.
And it's not that the university doesn't recognize it as a challenge, but attracting women into just getting the education is a huge challenge for them.
Yeah.
And it's actually something that I've been honored enough to help them with recruiting more women into the program because, if you can't get the education, if you don't have the education, how are you supposed to have some of these leadership roles and positions? So, it's that idea that, okay, we need to systematically work through this whole leadership thing and education thing, from a grassroots level, from the bottom up, and go from there.
That's brilliant. I love that. And on that note, let's start getting started on your journey, because you just already mentioned that, the university and the whole thing and masters. So let's go back, if we can, to that first crisis that put you on the journey to where you're at right now.
Well, I always, was the good girl who followed all the rules and got my undergraduate degrees in computer science and Spanish literature. And I graduated and I got my first job out of college, was working for IBM as a programmer.
Wow.
And I did that for a number of years. So very successful. And, had my kids, and there was kind of a point where I had always wanted to go for more upper level management, do more, be more, have more, just more. I've always wanted more than what I had. And the point at which I was ready to go back for my master's, I actually found out that I was pregnant with my 3rd child. Very unexpectedly.
You do know how that works, right?
Well, I told the OBGYN I was pregnant. She's like, "You're what? That wasn't supposed to happen." So that wasn't supposed to happen is 14 now. And he is a delight and a joy, and I wouldn't trade him for anything. But I decided to wait until I made sure that my family was complete once again, and that they were a little bit older, so that I didn't have, babies at home trying to get my MBA and, working full time and doing all that crazy stuff. So it took me a while to line my life up to be able to go back. And get that education.
Were you working this whole time?
I was, yeah.
So you were still at IBM?
I was actually at EMC by that point.
Oh, okay.
But yeah,
but
another
still
large corporation.
Right, but still doing what your degree was.
Yeah, IT.
Right.
IT, engineering, managing a group of interns.
Okay.
And, it was really interesting because I saw when I was doing recruiting how few girls were coming out of the master's programs. And of the 20 or 25 interns I hired over the years, only one was female.
Wow.
It wasn't lack of looking, it was just lack of availability.
Wow.
And the numbers of girls that have gone into engineering and STEM fields has been dropping, and in computer science in particular. So it's kind of interesting to see how the numbers have been changing over time and not necessarily for the better. And understanding why those changes. And it definitely motivated me to say, okay, so what things can we be doing? And I've led a Girl Scout troop for 15 years now. I've been a Girl Scout leader.
Wow.
But definitely seeing the progression of the girls as they start in elementary school and they go through, and where you start to see that drop off in the girls in STEM fields in middle school. And how it suddenly isn't as cool and it's not as easy. And, suddenly they're having to really struggle with it.
Interesting.
Yeah, it was fascinating to see where suddenly the bar lowered a lot and what they were aiming towards and their goals just dropped dramatically. It's almost like the sights went whoop, and wow, in middle school. And then, just growing up and doing that. And so I came along and I finally managed to line my life up to do my MBA and go back to school. And it was a very tumultuous time in my life because my mother passed away the week before I started my MBA. Wow. Very unexpectedly, and my father sustained a fall at approximately the same time and required 24/7 care from that time onward until he passed away 2 weeks or 8 weeks after I finished my MBA, which was about 2 years later. So it was really kind of a crazy, crazy time in my life, and it led to a lot of growth. Because an MBA will do that to you, especially a good program. You really do start to look in the mirror and say, okay, who is this person looking back at me? And what does she want? And how is she going to get it? And I decided to get my concentration in entrepreneurship and innovation because it was there and I could. And I started a home care agency right after I finished the program, partially as an honor to my dad because I saw such a huge need for high quality home care. And
ain't that the truth?
It's a huge thing, and there are so many challenges in that industry. And I ran that for almost exactly 3 years, from open to sell.
Oh, wow.
And I realized last year that I couldn't do it any longer because my daughter had sustained a traumatic brain injury.
Oh, wow.
A few months prior. And that really led to a significant crisis in our family. After she fell off of a horse in December of 2015. Sustained a traumatic brain injury, spent months in the hospital, required 24/7 care. Just a lot of, challenge in our life led me to really question things again, and realize that, while I really have a calling for home care, I couldn't physically sustain doing what I was doing, which is where I started focusing on Leadership Girl full time. And
well, can I interrupt and ask a question? Were you still working at this time?
I left my corporate job in 2013, just after I finished my MBA.
Okay. So, and then the other question that I had.
So I was working.
Yeah, but I meant, were you still working corporate wise? Did you still have a job, so to speak?
Well, I didn't have a job that somebody else was paying me for, but having 30 employees and, growing a business from 0 to 30 employees.
That's
and
impressive.
Franchising it,
wow.
qualifies as a job.
Well, except that it was your business. So I think there's a big difference between a job where you're working for someone else and a job where you're owning the business and bringing it up to where it is. So
absolutely,
I think you've got a different mindset. And I guess the one question I do want to go back and ask this was, where was your head as far as the MBA goes? So what was your thinking as to why this was a necessary thing for you?
For me, it was helpful and necessary because I originally saw myself as going up the corporate ladder. And I realized that I didn't necessarily want to do consulting in the traditional sense. Not because I don't think it's worthwhile, but because I couldn't see myself traveling that much with young children.
Gotcha.
And children still in grade school. And I really wanted to work my way up the corporate ladder. And it was really the pushback that I got in my job for the whole time that I was in school with you're going to leave, you're going to leave, you're going to leave, that eventually led me to, okay, I'm going to leave. I applied for a variety of different positions while I was still in school and didn't get any of them. And the reasons I were given were somewhat nonsensical and, sort of funny because it's well, we can't replace you. We can't afford to replace you. You're too invaluable where you are. So we're not going to promote you and we're not going to allow you to move.
Wow.
But I also, at the same time, to be fair, was looking at the financial records for the company, and I saw layoffs coming multiple times and correctly predicted them. So I saw that, the division where I was working, there really wasn't a lot of upward mobility available without moving, and I wasn't very interested in moving.
Yeah.
And I was also concerned because I saw flat revenues in my division for several years, which in the IT industry is not a good sign. If you don't see double-digit growth, that generally means that the company is ripe for a takeover or being bought. And sure enough, about 2 years after I left, it was bought by Dell.
And so that was really the main focus behind you wanting to get out and do the MBA.
I didn't know that at the time. Doing the MBA when I started the MBA was, well, I'm doing this so that I can be more promotable and I can move up the ladder.
Right.
But the knowledge that I gained during the process and the awareness of the company and the company's financial position definitely opened my eyes a lot and gave me sometimes, a little knowledge is kind of a dangerous thing.
Oh, yes. Ain't that the truth? The less you know, the more you think you know.
Right. Yeah. And, it just became clear to me that there were some things that were either happening or about to happen with the company. You know, being able to read that information, okay, well, I'm learning this in class and I'm seeing this and applying it over here. Let me see what I can learn.
Well, and so this is the thing then is after you're there and you're basically in the middle of the MBA or at least finishing it up and you've got all these people saying you're going to leave. Was that sort of I don't know, I'm not sure the exact phrasing on this, but was that sort of an impetus to get you even thinking in that direction? Or were you already thinking that way? Or were them just saying you're going to leave? That was the thing where you started going, hey, I'm going to leave?
Yeah, it eventually became the, hey, I'm going to leave. I had actually absolutely no intention of leaving when I started the program.
How interesting.
And for the first 2/3 of the program, I had absolutely zero intention of leaving. And it was really finishing the program with the concentration, having my dad die and going, okay, I'm going to leave, but I had really no intention to that point of really leaving. It was kind of funny,
That is really interesting that they're the ones who sort of precipitated, they made the reality happen for you by planting a seed.
Right. Yeah. No, they told me I was going to leave and then, refused and denied me, several lateral moves and promotions,
Right.
which kind of precipitated my leaving. I mean,
Yeah.
there was really no question about it. And looking at it going, okay, well, they're not promoting me. I don't see any other opportunities for promotion here. So I guess I'm going to leave.
Wow. That's crazy. Okay, so let's move back forward then. So your daughter has the traumatic brain injury, which is terrible,
Mm-hmm.
and in the hospital for months. And you, at that point, that was when you sold off your.
Shortly thereafter, yeah, after she was out and she needed, 24/7 care, I had kind of a health crisis of my own, and I went, okay, I'm done. And I had it sold within 2 weeks.
Oh, wow. So what happened in those 2 weeks?
I found a buyer and I sold the business.
Just that quick, huh?
Just that quick, yeah.
Well, okay, so then that leads me to the question of what was your thinking? I mean, like, what was your process for thinking that this is what I have to do right now?
I looked at it and I looked at the financials and I looked at my personal need for care and my child's need for care. And I said, okay, something has to change. And this is what I'm going to do. I mean, it became very clear that was the solution
Right.
that I needed to take at that point in time.
It sounds like you looked at it from a really logical standpoint.
Yeah, I mean, there really wasn't any choice.
Okay.
I looked at, okay, here's my child's health. Here's where I am financially. Here's where everything is. Okay, time to sell. Because I knew, based on, I had looked at every option in the interim, and looked at employee performance and everything else. And I just finally decided that they're sort of gutting everything and starting over again. I wasn't going to get exactly the results I was looking for. So,
right. So this is where Leadership Girl came out.
And Leadership Girl had been kind of out since I was actually in school. I had started blogging and doing some business consulting on the side while I was at Duke.
How
People
interesting.
kept coming to me and saying, hey, can I ask you some questions? Can you help me with this? Can you run some numbers for me? Can you do this? Can you do that? And I started blogging back in 2012.
Wow.
So, I mean, I enjoyed the writing and the blogging, and I thought that it was a lot of fun. And, it was that people kept coming to me asking me questions that I was like, oh, okay, maybe this is a business. Maybe I can do this.
Maybe it's more than just sharing information.
Yeah, maybe. So, yeah, it's been a lot of fun. But, it definitely was not as easy as I thought it would be, for sure. Where there's kind of this illusion in the online world that you just step out and you post something and people fall down before you and throw money at you in a shower of dollar bills.
That's not how it works?
That didn't happen?
That's not how it works? Seriously.
Right? It doesn't happen that way,
It's a wonderful illusion that we tell ourselves when we first start, isn't it?
And there is this illusion, especially in the online world, that, you just walk out and there's all this money to be had out there and it's just so easy. And then 99.9% of everybody, realizes how much work is actually involved and they run for the hills.
Yeah.
Because it is not nearly as easy as a lot of people make it look.
That's very true. So then, how is your daughter now, if I may ask?
She is doing amazingly well. She has become a Reiki practitioner.
Wow.
In the last years.
Cool.
She is working full-time as a caregiver for seniors, and she is in the adult high school program here locally with the local community college to finish high school.
Oh, awesome.
And we have lingering effects from the traumatic brain injury. I don't think that everything will ever go completely away, but I think that probably in another 2 years it will probably be a distant memory.
That's awesome.
We're not quite at it's a distant memory yet.
Yeah, that's awesome. Oh, I'm so glad to hear that. That makes me feel really, really good for you and for her.
Yeah, we've been definitely hitting the annual maximum out of pocket, and then some with insurance the last few years.
Yeah.
we'll probably hit it again next year just because we can. Let's go for 3 in a row. Why not?
It's a trifecta.
It's a trifecta, but she's seeing some really amazing neurologists at Duke and, getting really amazing care. We've started pulling in more and more resources into this over time and discovered some of the wonders of, functional neurology and acupuncture and bringing in a lot of holistic medicine. So it's actually, I think for her, it's been transformative in a lot of ways because she's getting to essentially intern in the field she wants to work in because she wants to go into medicine. And she's also getting to work with an acupuncturist as an intern, and she's getting to really explore some career alternatives that probably never would have come around had it not been for the head injury.
How cool for her. What a great sort of end, not necessarily end, but just a great lesson and a way to take an experience that could have been, down the road to a different direction and really capitalizing on it. That's brilliant.
She's done well. And her horse finally arrived here in North Carolina in November. We had left the horse at her previous boarding school while she was recovering enough to be able to ride. And she now has her horse here. So it's been...
Is she riding again?
She is riding. And she's jumping again.
Ooh.
So, yeah, I think the second time she rode him, they were already doing jumps. And I'm like, okay, well, guess they're doing jumps now. like she never missed a day.
Kids are great. Just and nothing like stress for you, though.
Yeah.
That's an understatement right there.
Yeah.
Oh, that's funny. Okay, so let's get back to Leadership Girl. So you sell off your business. Mm-hmm. And you've got Leadership Girl going. And at that point, you are doing the blogging and consulting.
Mm-hmm. And coaching and bringing clients.
Okay. So tell us a little bit about that. Like how did the evolution happen with Leadership Girl?
So I've gone from being a generalist with Leadership Girl, with business in general, to really focusing on leadership and marketing are really the kind of the things I focus on.
Okay.
And part of the reason that I do that is because I recognize that the biggest challenges that businesses have up until they are, making probably $300,000 to $600,000 a year and beyond is marketing, is getting clients.
Right.
And people talk a lot in the online space about how to do sales and how to close a sales transaction. But they don't talk about finding that unique alchemy, that unique chemistry that is yours to build a business, to attract clients and customers so that you're not chasing them constantly. And there is no one right recipe for all business owners.
Yeah.
So whereas a podcast may work for one person, webinars may work very well for somebody else, and online courses may work well for somebody else, but it doesn't mean that everybody should do a podcast.
Right.
And it's finding that right combination of things for people that has been my magic sauce, and helping people understand where their strengths and weaknesses are and helping them, maybe step a little bit outside the box and figure out how to do it. And get things to happen. It's been kind of a funny, an interesting journey because I've gone from, okay, I'm not a website designer. I don't do programming anymore. I'm done with that. I don't do websites. Okay, fine. I'll fix your website. Okay. I'll fix this one too. Okay, here, let me tweak this for you. Okay, fine. I'll do your website for you. So it's been this kind of thing of, okay, fine, I do websites.
Well, so that's the question then, is this is an evolution happening continuously with Leadership Girl.
It is.
And do you feel like are you feeling like you're drawn towards certain ways, or is it more just, is it that you don't want to do it or you do want to do it? Are you being drawn a certain way, or are you just sort of, I don't want to say, I guess, following the winds blowing you where you need to go?
Some of it is following the winds blowing me where I need to go
Yeah.
and leveraging skills that I have.
Mm-hmm. Which you do have a lot of them for that sort of thing.
I do. And I mean, I've written, hundreds of thousands of lines of code in my life and done million line code reviews for the US Postal Service.
Wow.
So, I mean, I've done the coding. I mean, it's not very hard for me to do. And I mean, I just see such a huge need, and so many people just need help with their overall strategy and the implementation of their whole marketing thing. Not just in the online world, but offline businesses as well.
Yeah.
And there's just a huge need for, a beginner basic website for a plumber that's not $6,000.
Amen to that. Not $6,000 for a website.
And I mean, it's not that I don't think that there is a place for those types of websites,
right.
But I think that you have to take a step back. And this is one of my things with people, is helping them figure out the alchemy of things that's going to work for them, but doing a really good job and doing exactly what I tell them I'm going to do and getting results in an affordable way that makes sense for my clients.
Right. And that's providing what you say that you're going to provide. That's following through and doing a good job. That's how businesses are really made.
Right. And I've found that, there's a massive need here, at least in my area and, online as well, for a basic one-page landing website, just that landing page website.
Right.
Here, I need this done. It takes me 2 hours to do one of those, but it's not a massive process to do those.
So this then leads to, where are you at with all of this? I mean, is this touching on your passions, your desires, your where you fit in everything with Leadership Girl?
So it allows me a lot of problem solving, and I love problem solving and figuring out what's going to work for people. And I see Leadership Girl is kind of undergoing a little bit of a transformation right now, in that I'm splitting off different components of the business just a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
And the marketing piece is becoming marketing alchemy, and hence the alchemy of online marketing. And then
Gotcha.
Leadership Girl is the blog and books and events and other things. So I'm starting to kind of tease apart maybe different aspects and components, and then partnering with different providers and different people and different associates to maybe even help provide different parts of the solution for, my audience. So it's kind of cool to see how it's kind of growing and morphing and changing. And
I think it's really interesting, because it seems to me, after listening to your story at this point, that you're a community builder.
Mm-hmm.
That you are all about finding the solutions in a larger based community.
Mm-hmm.
And bringing people together in order to help them find the solutions that they need.
Yes, exactly. And that is my core mission with my businesses.
That's awesome.
Building a community, helping one another build our businesses and build our lives, not just our businesses.
Well, for women, the personal is professional and the professional is personal.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Men don't think that way, but women do.
But I've also seen plenty of men whose identity is their job.
Oh, and, yeah. Oh, yeah.
It is deeply personal to them if they're let go from a job. Yeah. And I've seen more men absolutely shattered by a layoff. So, it is very deeply personal to them as well, and helping, kind of bridge that gap and understanding kind of our strengths and weaknesses and using the strengths to our advantage.
Mm. Well, I guess one of the things that I mean by the personal is professional is that women utilize their personal in the professional far more than men do.
Yes, absolutely.
That's really where the difference lies. And yes, I absolutely agree. Men are their doing. They are their production. They are absolutely that way. And women don't necessarily look at it quite that black and white, because everything for us is personal and professional at the same time. So I think that gives us sort of an edge in the layoff mentality, that we are not necessarily focused so much on the business being who we are. Mm-hmm. Whereas men are very much that way because it's part of their protect and provide mentality. And if they're not, if they're not protecting and providing even for themselves, they lose their sense of self. Mm-hmm. So where do you see yourself going now with Leadership Girl? So you said you're going to sort of split off. Are you going to be running both aspects of this?
I am running both aspects of it currently. But I'm also developing partnerships on the marketing side for the marketing alchemy stuff.
Okay.
To really help me be able to serve more people more effectively, more efficiently. So it's about using the right tools and the right resources and getting those in place. So that's one of the things that I'm really excited by in 2018 is having more tools at my disposal that I've been developing and partnerships that I've worked on to have those, and kind of building a separate digital marketing agency from the straight Leadership Girl stuff, which is really more focusing on the blogging and the community building.
Yeah. So the marketing is not necessarily going to be a community building sort of thing. You're going to stick with that, with the Leadership Girl?
There may be aspects of it.
Okay.
In the marketing alchemy, but I would say most of the community building aspects will be on the Leadership Girl side.
What do you hope to do with the Leadership Girl then?
So what I'm doing with the Leadership Girl is giving and creating a platform in a community for women and resources and helping connect. So it's really community, connecting, resources, and providing that kind of set of things for people that isn't so much here, here's a coaching package or here's this or here's that, but giving more opportunities that way for people to connect with one another. Okay. Kind of as I've done in the Women's Entrepreneur Network on Facebook in the group, but also using that and allowing that to flow through my blog and doing some other things that way.
That's awesome. I still have your social media email that you sent out. I don't even know how long ago I saw that, but it was the 100 things that you could put on your social media. I think it was like, oh my God, there's so many. This is brilliant. I kept that one for sure. It was like, that is one of those things where it's like, oh, I like that. Oh, that's a good idea. Oh, I never thought about that before.
Right. And I love to get guest bloggers on there too, because sometimes some of my guests actually come up with even better stuff than I did.
Well, I mean, that's the whole idea, isn't it? I mean, we build off of each other and create from what we've learned before. None of us have truly original things that we're necessarily working on. We're just perfecting it and tweaking it and appealing to the people that maybe wouldn't have got it from the other one. You know what I mean? It's sort of, you just keep tweaking and bringing in the people who need your product, just not from the other person because they didn't appeal to that person.
Right. Yeah. No. And I mean, the thing with the Leadership Girl that I'm really looking forward to this year is really focusing on events and really focusing on what it means to be a leader as a woman, not just as an entrepreneur, but in corporate, what is unique about our own leadership styles and talking a lot more about leadership styles and making it very approachable.
I love
So
that.
I have a book that I'm currently working on and creating some really unique collateral and assets there to try to help people, and women in particular, understand, how different leadership styles maybe interact with one another and where we focus more. So
I love that. That's something so needed right now. Because I think that women really balk about leadership in certain ways.
mm-hmm.
It's we got to be too nice, or we got to be meaner, or, it's don't be a mom, that kind of a thing.
Right. Yeah.
It's what is your style and what do you do right? And God help us when it's she's a ball buster, or, those sort of so many derogatory terms. And, I think that women need to explore every aspect of what it means to be a leader for themselves and their business and their whole world.
Right. And maybe some of the maternal stuff isn't so bad.
I absolutely think that parenting is one of the best teachers that you could ever have.
Yeah. And I mean, even if it's not parenting, I mean, I know I was never a mother to my interns, and yet people referred to me as the mother of the interns. But it was very funny because I was able to single-handedly influence the culture of the company by who I chose to recruit and bring in and interview, and then how I mentored them and got them started in their careers. And it has had a profound and lasting impact on their careers and where they've gone and what they've done. And, it's really cool to see how that has really changed a lot of people's lives. And not that I was being maternal, but, talking about taxes and tax implications and understanding, withholdings and medical insurance isn't being maternal.
No.
Being practical.
Right. But it just shows a different way that you created different kinds of communities.
Absolutely.
I mean, it really is a big thing for you. I've heard it through your entire discussion. I hear the community building all through everything that you do. And I think that's awesome.
Well, thank you.
You're welcome. So let's step into, what are your top tips for women out there working in their biz?
Working in their biz, stay consistent. And there is so many things that are going to be really frustrating, that are not going to work right on the first try, that it may take the 20th or the 100th try to get to work. And many times it's not that you're doing anything wrong, it's that you haven't done it enough. Consistency is important. If I could say take away one thing, that would be it. Consistency. Just keep doing it.
Don't expect to be able to do it perfect the first time, or even the 10th time, or even the 100th time.
Just as doing video or doing a podcast interview or whatever may seem really terrifying the first time you do it, by the time you've done it 100 times, it'll make, oh, this is so easy.
Yeah. Why was I even worried about this before? I don't understand. Totally get that. All right. Is there anything else?
And believe in yourself.
Aw, I love that.
Thank you. I mean, a lot of times we think, I'm going to go out and I'm going to go do this. And then the little voices in our heads.
Oh, yes.
That, if we had a friend who treated us the same way the little voices in our heads treat us, we would have fired them a long time ago. Gone and found different friends. I mean,
yes.
Believe in yourself. Take good care of yourself, and have some faith in yourself. I mean, even when your family members, because your family members are going to be your biggest doubters, and the people that want to keep you in your box.
Oh yeah.
And the ones that are not going to buy your products or your services, and they're going to think you're the most ridiculous thing ever. Because believe me, I've been there, and that's my life. You have to have faith that you can really do this. And you have to have that unwavering faith. And, if you don't believe in yourself, who else will?
I love that. That's so true. You can't move forward without faith in yourself.
You absolutely have to have that faith in yourself and really be determined.
How do you find determination?
How do you find determination? I think that goes back to your why.
Mm.
And you have to understand why you're doing things on a cellular level. And money is a really lousy motivator.
Ain't that the truth?
People are like, oh, because I want to make more money. And I'm like, yeah, I want to make more money too. But most people, for 99% of the population, money is a really lousy motivator. And it's just, you can tell somebody all day long, hey, if you go out and you go to these things, you do these 3 things, every day for the next year, you will make $100,000. And I bet you that 99.99% of the population will not do them because they're not easy. It's not appetizing. It's not fun. I'm going to give up.
Yeah, I get you.
But if it's the difference between putting food on your table or taking care of your children or whatever that is, you better betcha that somebody's going to find a way to, put clothes on their children's back or a roof over their child's head.
Yeah, absolutely. And that sticks with that why too. Mm-hmm. There's your why right there.
Exactly.
My why is that. I get it. Totally. All right. Awesome. Well, that has been great. And now we're going to move into you. Plug your biz. Tell us about the summit coming up. Tell us about Leadership Girl. Let's hear about alchemy marketing, all of it.
So the thing I'm working on right now is the Alchemy Marketing Summit. And, if you are looking for marketing information, check us out. If you are an expert speaker, come check us out. We would love to have more expert speakers. This is going to be an amazing business building event for everybody involved. I am just so stoked to see the kinds of responses I've been getting from people. It's actually kind of mind-blowing to me right now, and truly humbling, if you really want the honest to goodness truth. It's alchemymarketingsummit.com is the website. And, if you're wanting to learn more about marketing, this is a great opportunity.
Awesome. Now, what about for Leadership Girl?
For Leadership Girl,
yeah,
we have a actual live in-person summit that's coming up in September 26th and 27th. It's here in North Carolina, so near Raleigh, North Carolina. And we are actually forced to wait until the end of March to confirm the dates and the location because the venue that we're going for won't let us reserve it just yet, but I'm really stoked about it. It's going to be fun. It'll be about 100 people. So it'll be a little bit smaller of an event. And if 100 people is really that small?
I don't think so.
And it'll be a lot of fun. We're going to be talking about leadership and leadership from a feminine context.
I love it.
And we are kicking off the first in our pre-launch events here in January with doing a dream boards clinic. We're going to do virtual dream boards, and then we're going to do in person. So we're going to be doing monthly wine and dine kind of meetings every month. And it's going to be a lot of fun doing this series in person and then having our speakers. Last year, we did the Leadership Girl Live Summit, and the website is live.leadershipgirl.com.
Okay.
And we had speakers fly in from literally all over the country.
How awesome.
We had about 100 people here Friday night, 50 the rest of the weekend, and over 24,000 views on the live stream in the first 24 hours.
Wow.
So it was kind of cool.
That's really cool. That's a lot of numbers right there. That's a big number.
There's some really fun stuff going on. So yeah, I'm really excited.
You got a lot going on. That sounds fun. Well, Haley, this has been an absolute pleasure. I have enjoyed talking to you so much. I love what you are doing. I love the fact that you build so much community. I think it's one of the best things I've heard. I love that more than anything, because that's what we as women need more than anything, is the not feeling alone. It's getting connected to everybody else.
Yeah.
It makes our life what it's meant to be.
It makes all the difference.
Yeah, it really does. And that's it for today's interview. Thanks so much, Haley, for being here with us today. It was absolutely fabulous. Loved all of your tips. Loved your vision. Loved your community building. Absolutely wonderful. Thanks so much for being here. And for everybody out there listening, thanks for coming all the way through with us. If you want to get involved with anything that Haley is doing, you can find all of her links in her bio. If you like today's interview, hit that subscribe button, give me a like, give me a comment. Let me know what you're thinking. Thanks so much for being here, and I'll catch everybody on the other side. Thanks for tuning in to today's episode. Leave me a comment, give me a like, and if you really enjoyed it, or even if you didn't, hit that subscribe button and share it with your friends. You can follow me on iTunes, Google Play, and Stitcher at Women Are the Journey. Thanks for tuning in, and catch you on the other side.